the British airline BMI, or Flybmi, claims it's being grounded by the UK's uncertain economic future. 400 staff and thousands of travellers are stranded, staff of course, without a job. Flybmi's story at the moment is not far from unique. Faced with rising fuel costs, environmental taxes and fierce competition, more low-cost carriers have been driven out of business. So Monarch went, that was a British airline, been around for years. Premier Air, European, Fly VLM, gone, Cobalt, gone. Germania, that was a shock when that went. Fly BMI, gone. You get the idea. Get out your phones, go to cnn.com/join. Tonight, we're asking you, in this environment, when you're flying, what's the most important thing choosing the airline to fly on? Is it the price? Is it the service? Is it the loyalty program? Or is it the schedule? When you are paying, and let's make it out your own money. When you're paying out your own money, which is more important? The price, the service, the loyalty program, or the schedule? Go to cnn.com/join and you'll see the results on your screen. Simon Calder is a senior travel editor at The Independent. He joins me live from London. Simon, Flybmi's blaming partly on Europe or Brexit because it said it couldn't give contractual certainty for European contracts. Are you buying that?
Yes, while every single corporation on this side of the Atlantic which has problems blames Brexit for it, actually Flybmi has pretty good grounds for doing so. All the way from the collapse of the pound sterling against the US dollar immediately after the referendum to leave the European Union, through to the fact that here we are about 38 days out from when the UK leaves the EU, and no UK airline knows what its rights will be to fly in Europe. And if 40% of your flying, as was the case with Flybmi, is within Europe, as it were, domestically within the 27 remaining states of the European Union, and you don't know if you're going to be able to do that this summer, and you can't sign any other contracts with big corporates in order to get some work from them, then you're rather stuck. Add to that, of course, the softness of the UK economy because of all the uncertainty around, and it's a dreadful time to be a regional airline of the scale that Flybmi was, which was tiny. Ryanair, the biggest European budget giant, flies as many people in a day and a half as Flybmi did for the whole of last year.
Okay, but Flybmi, separate company, separate airline, but similar problems. Flybe, of course, which has just sold itself off. Tried again regional flights in Britain. I'm wondering, do these regional carriers ever stand much chance of success?
Well, it all depends where they are, Richard. So in the United States, you've got a whole range of feeder airlines working for the big network carriers, and they've been going for years, and they're doing a pretty good job, I think people would say, both in terms of actually making some money and delivering decent service. The big problem here in Europe is that the low-cost giants, Ryanair and EasyJet, are so dominant that they will just sit there and watch while an airline like Flybe builds up a route, and when it reaches a certain market size, they will just march in because they've got bigger aircraft, economies of scale, more efficient operations. They'll just take out all the passengers.
Simon, stay with me. Don't go away, because while some carriers are grounded after a few years in business, one British aviation institution has made it to a whole century. British Airways is celebrating 100 years since its maiden flight with a plane repainted in the old BOAC design, 747-400. Inaugural flight from London to Paris with a single passenger, and the flight, which I think is actually coming across to New York tomorrow. Simon, 100 years of BA. Well, what do you make of the strength and weakness?
Well, British Airways has actually turned itself round. It was, like so many big European airlines, effectively a branch of government up until the mid-80s, when it was about the first big carrier to be privatised. Now in private hands, part of the IAG consortium, along with Iberia of Spain, Aer Lingus of Ireland and so on. And it's, of course, got the stranglehold, the most routes at the world's most in-demand airport, which is London Heathrow, where that 747 landed this morning at about 20 past 10 local time. So they've got lots of advantages. They do play to their strengths, but of course they are in the most competitive aviation market in Europe, possibly the world.
Now, Simon, what was I think it was either Imperial Airways or Empire Airways or something like it when it originally started. Simon, finally, for you, the man who pays his own way, what's the most important to you when choosing an airline? Price, schedule, loyalty, or service?
The sorts of fares that I pay, you're certainly not going to get any loyalty bonuses these days, I'm afraid. Price is the top, but schedule and then service, I guess, is in third place. Thank goodness, Richard, we can pretty much in all the flights that you and I and your lovely viewers are likely to take be absolutely assured of safety.
Which is why it doesn't appear in the list. Good to see you, Simon. Thank you very much indeed.